You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. Hi, I'm so excited to be back here with you. It has been a minute. If you're a listener to the podcast, you've probably noticed I've been a little MIA lately. I've been a little MIA on social media. I have really been taking a break from a lot of the things I've been working on, but that's what I wanted to come back here with and talk more about, which is the ability to have seasons in your life and in your business and your creativity. I think it has really served me to not panic when the creativity ebbs and flows, or you have these seasons that are so fast-paced and so much production, followed by seasons where you really want to be working on nothing and it's all you can do to work on some projects behind the scenes or feel the seedlings of new ideas. I really believe that in business, you have winters, you have springs, you have summers, you have autumns. And so today, I want to share more about that. Hopefully kept you up on what I've been up to behind the scenes, and also give you a lot of permission in your own life or business around embracing that there are seasons, and maybe help you discover which one you're in right now or look forward to what is next. It's helped me so much to have that perspective that nature has designed it this way, that there are seasons to life, and that's okay. And that actually everything works a little bit better when you work in flow with nature versus resisting it, right? Maybe you've seen that as well. So let's talk a little bit about what characteristics describe each season when you're talking in terms of business or creativity or life. I have been in a season, I would say, of winter lately, ironically, even though where I am right now, it's very much in summer. But I had such a big season for a while of launching programs, of getting my book out there, of working with my students in my courses, and I hit a point where I felt like I needed to just pause and maybe realign, refigure out what really felt best in my business. I don't know about you, but I have found that some seasons I can read and learn and take every single course, and I can't wait to get my hands on the next book or podcast. And after a certain point, I hit a wall and I almost want to take in no new content. I'm like, I cannot listen to one more audiobook. I do not want to read another business book right now. I can't even barely get through a podcast. It's just a season of no more input, but really of hibernating a little bit. And obviously there's things you have to do in your business to keep it going where you can't do a full stop, but there are probably ways that you feel yourself pull back, or you give yourself the ability to do that. So that's what I really feel like I've been in creatively, is a little bit of a winter. I feel like there's a lot of growth under the surface during winters where maybe you're just thinking about different projects, different creative outlets. Maybe you are really integrating all that you have learned in the past few months or in the busier seasons like springs and summers. Maybe you're working on a few behind the scenes projects, but you're not feeling as outwardly creative or ready to announce to the world what you're working on yet. For me, this is what a winter always looks like and feels like. And if you can allow that, you make it a lot easier to move on to the next season of spring. And you will find that spring always inevitably comes when you really allow your body and your brain to take that rest and that pause. So what happens when you move into spring, at least for me, is I find that's when the new ideas start sprouting, just like in life and nature. All the new flowers start blooming. You see the little seedlings sprouting and taking root. Maybe this looks like fresh bursts of creativity, lots of motion. Things start blooming, things start happening. And you feel a little bit of lightness again, a little bit of brightness, that feels like there's more motion in your life. And maybe you don't have this one just massive idea that's ready to take flight yet, but there's a lot of more energy and activity happening. That's kind of like a spring season. And I think I'm actually moving back into a spring. Now that I've had my winter, I think I'm ready for the spring again. And you'll probably see that because I'm ready to start sharing a podcast and what's inspiring me again. I have some new projects and ideas and ways that I want to mentor and contribute in the world. And so I'd say winter is kind of on its way out and now it's spring. There's a lot of new, fresh ideas ready to kind of be back out and blooming again in the world. Okay, so that's what a spring looks like. And after spring comes summer, right? Summer is just like the height of activity. I would say summer is like if you are doing a book tour, if you are launching a course, if you are on a podcast tour where you are just doing episode after episode on other podcasts and you're getting to know people and a lot of things are happening in your business or your life, that is like a summer. It's taken the dial from spring when things are just sprouting and it's turned it into a ton of energy, a ton of activity. You're probably running really hard. Lots of your dreams are coming to fruition. Maybe it's a faster pace. Maybe you're having more conversations. Maybe it's like this constant flood of books you want to read and podcasts you want to listen to and videos you want to watch, and you're taking courses and you're just like in full go, go, go mode. I would say that is like summer. And summers can feel so good, right? There's so much energy in a summer, probably just like a real summer, like in your life. I know there's a lot of activity in summers. You might be shuttling here and there. You might be seeing people a lot more often. It's hot, it's bright, it feels good. And that's the same with your creativity and your business. But it's also not possible to sustain a summer forever. Like just like in real life, I know so many people around this time of the year start looking forward to fall, start wanting to just slow down and regain a little routine. And so that moves us into the fall season in both life and creativity. And I see fall as like the harvest after a big push. So if you have just launched a course and that was your summer, maybe your fall looks like analyzing what worked. Maybe it looks like executing on the course with the students that are in it. Maybe it looks like seeing, how much you made, what you could do differently next time, what worked, what didn't. Fall is like that harvest season, just like it is in nature. It's the reaping of the rewards. It's less activity, but maybe more of that analyzing space. It's feeling your pace slow down. It's craving more rest, more routine again. It's maybe even feeling a little bit depleted from all of your ideas and energy output and starting to actually begin to want that winter season again. And thus begets the whole cycle, right? Like that is just how the world works in our outer world and a little bit in our inner world as well. For me, it's really helpful to think about it in terms of this. When I was a newer entrepreneur, and probably throughout my life, I've always pushed myself to be in more of that summer state of like always achieving, always producing, go, go, go. And if you're anything like me, you probably have realized if you've tried that, it only works for so long. And actually, it feels so much better to the body and to the soul to allow the seasons to come and go, to not resist them. When you feel a winter coming, just know, okay, you've just done a huge season of output. Out of that winter of rest and reflection, and maybe not doing a lot of new activity in your business or creativity is what will create that space for something else to come in. If you never create that space and that vacuum, there's nothing that can be sucked in there because everything is so full all the time. So if you can respect each season for what it is, you'll start to see the benefits of each and you'll start to really appreciate each one as they come. A big takeaway for me is that it's okay to have all of these seasons because we are not so outside of nature as our current culture maybe leads us to believe, that we are actually a part of nature just like the birds and the animals and the plants. And so the more we can work with our true nature, just the better it goes for our hearts and our bodies and our entire lives. So that's one thing that's really helped me. Another one is to remember that seasons never last forever. So even if you feel like you are in the depths of a winter and you're like, when am I going to get my next idea? When am I going to feel excited around a certain opportunity again? Just know that it's finite, that there is a time when you will feel the pushings to change into something else, and the same with summer. If you're in like a go, go, go season and you're exhausted and you're pushing as hard as you can, know that that will also come to an end and it will flow into the next season at a point in time. So you never have to be in them forever. It's natural to eventually start to crave the next one, and they will come. The other really helpful thing for me to remember is that you kind of know what's next based on where you are now. So think about if you can tell which season you're in now based on the descriptions. You'll know what's next, right? So if you're in one of those really busy seasons like a summer, okay, great. You know that fall's coming next when you're going to get to have your wind down and reap the rewards of all your work. And then you're going to get to calm down even more into a slower pace of winter and feel out what's next in your year or next in your creation. And on it goes, right? So you kind of know what's next based on where you are now. Instead of always pushing yourself to play full out as a summer or a fall or spring, whatever your favorite one is, just embrace what each season offers. So maybe in winter, that's feeling just really nourished and slow and kind of cozier and maybe more of a homebody, less activity. Fall can feel very rewarding because you start to see the results of all your efforts, the harvest, Spring can feel exciting. It's like the birth of new ideas again. And summer is intense, but it's the peak, right? Like each one has its own benefits and things to look forward to. If you think about what season you naturally gravitate towards most in life, is it the same as with creativity? So if you just absolutely love spring, is it the same when it comes to that creative and business process? If you really love autumn, like I love a good autumn and fall and feeling cozy and like you've just had the fun of a summer, but now it's kind of calming down, does it translate to that in your business or creative life? It can be kind of an interesting thing to think about. And again, just reflecting on what season you might be in now, because maybe it will give you just a little bit of permission to more fully embody that season, and then also to know what's coming next, where you're headed, to remember that these seasons always, always change, and that often it does us so much more good to work with nature and to just know that is our true literal nature and makeup, to just embrace them instead of fighting what is and what is to come. So that's where I have been at. I'm really excited to be back talking with you. I've missed you a lot, but like I described, I have been working on things behind the scenes. I've been resting. I have been figuring out what's next, rearranging some things, giving myself the chance to just reflect on where I feel like I can be of the most service here in this world, and what I love most about business and the projects that I'm working on, the next books I want to write, and also just giving some space for some new things to come in instead of doing things the same way over and over again. So I'm excited that some new ideas and energy is flowing back in. I'm excited to share more about those with you in the coming weeks, and so happy that you're here. Thank you for making the time, and I hope this helps you clarify maybe what season is yours right now, what's ahead, and what you're looking forward to, and what will really ultimately come next in your life and business. Thank you so much for listening in. If you love this episode, there are 2 things that would be so helpful to me and this podcast. One, if you haven't yet, is to leave a review. These take less than a minute, but help get this podcast into the ears of more listeners and women it can uplift. Or if you've already left a review, share this episode on Instagram and tag me at @HiJessicaJohnson so I can personally thank you and reshare. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week.